Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to today's video, where we're diving into the mesmerizing world of variegated succulents and cacti. From their stunning, multicolored patterns to the unique challenges they bring, we'll cover it all. We'll go over what variegation is, what different kinds of variegation looks like, and specific variegated succulent care. Variegation in succulents and cacti refers to a phenomenon where the leaves or stems of the plant display patterns of multiple colors rather than being uniformly green. This happens due to a genetic mutation that affects chlorophyll production, resulting in areas of the plant with reduced or no chlorophyll. These areas may appear white, yellow, cream, pink, or even red, creating striking contrasts and unique patterns. This variegated string of hearts, for example, displays bright yellows and pinks compared to its standard dark green variety. There are a few different kinds of variegation that affect succulents and cacti. These will express themselves in different ways and may or may not be passed down in future growth. Let's break them down a little now. Genetic variegation is a genetic mutation within the plant's DNA that affects chlorophyll production, leading to permanent variegation. The variegation often appears in consistent and predictable patterns of stripes, patches, or bands. This mutation is stable and heritable, meaning variegation will likely appear in new growth and can be passed down to offspring. It's like a family heirloom that keeps its design no matter who inherits it. Chimeral variegation is a mutation in which the plant has two genetically different types of cells, one that produces chlorophyll, the green, and one that does not, the non-green, that grows side by side. The variegation patterns are less predictable and can vary between leaves or stems, but often appears as streaks, speckles, or sections of green and white. This variegation is more unstable, meaning it can revert to all green, intensify, or mutate further, depending on how the two cell types grow. It's like a tug of war between two teams of cells with different traits. Viral variegation is caused by infection of a virus that disrupts chlorophyll production and therefore is not true variegation, but a symptom of the infection. Variegation will look like mottled or streaked patterns on the leaves. This will often be irregular and less symmetrical compared to genetic or chimeral variegation. Nutritional variegation is the last kind we'll talk about and is also technically not really variegation. It happens when nutrients like nitrogen or magnesium are deficient in the plant and disrupts chlorophyll production. This typically appears as yellowing or chlorosis between the veins or across the leaves, and fixing the deficiency will make things go back to normal. While variegated plants can look really cool, they often come with their own set of challenges. They often have a slower growth rate, they require more careful care, they can revert to green without proper care, they burn easily, and propagation can be tricky. But fear not, these can still be effortless plants with just a few adjustments here and there. In just a moment, we'll go into some care tips that will help your variegated succulents thrive and continue to grow beautifully. In general, these care tips should be applicable for all kinds of variegated succulents and cacti. Variegated plants need bright indirect light to maintain their variegation but not burn. Consider a bright window, but watch for intense direct sunlight. If you don't have enough light, a grow light will be necessary or the plant could revert to green growth. Water less frequently using a soak and dry method. Observe your plant and use well-draining soil in pots with drainage, as these plants are more sensitive to overwatering. Protect variegated plants from extremes in temperatures, especially frost. These plants are like Goldilocks and don't like it to be too hot or too cold. An ideal range would be around 65 to 85 degrees Fahrenheit or 18 to 29 degrees Celsius. Prune away any unwanted green growth. You don't have to do this, but it will help to take away energy that's being directed towards that green growth and put it towards that beautiful variegated growth you want. Ultimately, the key to thriving variegated succulents and cacti is balance, providing enough light without burning, watering sparingly to prevent rot, and providing a consistent environment with protections from extremes. While they may need more attention than their green counterparts, their striking beauty makes them well worth the effort. Reversion in variegated succulents and cacti refers to the process where a plant's variegated parts revert to producing entirely green growth. Reversion is a natural challenge when caring for variegated plants, as plants may refer to solid green as a natural survival response to stress or suboptimal conditions. The increased chlorophyll production improves their ability to generate energy. This usually happens to indoor plants due to too little light, as the plant tries to compensate for the lack of light by producing more green tissue. If you want to keep those beautiful colors that make these plants so special, make sure to place these plants in spots with lots of bright light. Pruning away any solid green growth also helps. Propagating variegated plants can be a little tricky because you'll want to find ways to carry those desirable patterns and colors over without losing them. To propagate variegated succulents and cacti while maintaining their unique patterns, make sure that you take sections with visible variegation on them. If you don't and only green or non-variegated sections are used, the new plant will likely grow as its fully green, non-variegated version. Taking stem or leaf cuttings is an effective way to propagate many succulents like Echeveria or Crassula. Just snip off a variegated section, let it callus for a few days, and plant it into well-draining soil. Leaf propagation may not work for chimeral variegation, however, as variegated patterns don't always carry over this way. You'll need to keep a node or areole to have a more likely chance to pass down the variegation. Taking offsets is reliable and works well for plants like aloe or haworthia, where you can remove one of the smaller variegated pups growing off to the side, plant that in fresh soil, and watch it grow. Grafting is more effective with cacti that have weak or chlorophyll-deficient variegated sections and can't photosynthesize on their own. A moon cactus is a great example of this, as the top portion of the plant, the gymnocalycium, cannot survive on its own, and is grafted onto a rootstock that provides nutrients. Variegated succulents and cacti require a bit more care, but reward growers with their stunning unique patterns. Proper care involves balancing bright, indirect light to avoid burns, watering sparingly with well-draining soil, and protecting them from environmental extremes. Propagation can be done through a variety of methods, and can be a truly rewarding experience. If you have any questions, please let us know, and if this video was helpful, please leave a like and a comment, and subscribe to Lazy Gardens for more educational content.